A lot of MMOs suck. There, I said it. That's just the sad reality of the situation. Finding a worthwhile MMO to actually play long term is incredibly difficult, as most of them are just so filled with pay to win, unnecessarily bloated systems, and well, they just look or play like garbage. Which is honestly why I have actually been playing so many gacha games recently. On average, I've had more fun in Arknights, in Azure Lane, Punishing Grey Raven, and more recently Counterside than I have in any MMO. But that doesn't mean that there aren't any good MMOs out there. There just aren't many. Before we go any further though, I do want to give a quick shout out to all of our patrons over on Patreon. While this channel is technically monetized due to the nature of a lot of the content, Patreon allows for me to at least make something off of these videos, so kudos guys, you guys rock. Today specifically, we're going to be targeting exclusively free MMOs. Not pay to play, not buy to play, good free MMOs that anyone can jump right into and begin enjoying. We're going to be tackling this alphabetically, starting with Blade & Soul. Blade & Soul is a gorgeous PC MMO developed by Team Bloodlust and published by NCSoft. It's a large open world title that features a plethora of different, unique zones filled with their own interconnected stories, world bosses, earnable outfits, dungeons. It has what is arguably the best character creator in the free MMO scene, allowing for some absolutely incredible and at times incredibly ludicrous looking characters. There's a massive focus on, well, plot, both types. The combat is a high quality blend of flashy action and martial arts, providing the large selection of classes' unique combat styles that just aren't present within the rest of the genre. Black Desert Mobile is the mobile version of the incredibly popular Black Desert Online PC title, developed and published by Pearl Abyss. However, where BDO is a paid premium title, Black Desert Mobile is not, and is instead completely free. This is an absolutely gorgeous game, easily one of the most stunning MMOs exclusive to mobile platforms. Unfortunately, as is the case for most mobile exclusive MMOs, the game world is much smaller than its PC counterpart. Despite its smaller world, it's no less filled with content to consume, enemies to mow down, and classes to enjoy. It also features some solid customization options given the nature of its platform. It features a lot of auto combat, however, which for your average MMO player might be quite a turn off. It does allow you to set it and forget it though, which is, I feel like personally, all but a necessity when it comes to either Black Desert title. Trust me, you will not regret having this as a feature. Digimon Super Rumble is an MMO adaptation of both the original Digimon World PS1 game and the Digimon Adventure anime developed and published by Move Games. As a Digimon fan, you'll find yourself repeatedly coming across nostalgic environments like Factory Town and the Village of Beginnings. You'll encounter Digimon and their associated stories like Andromon or Monzemon. It was all so surreal just seeing all of this adapted into an MMO. The world itself is large and open. It's filled with so many places that I can immediately recognize. It's packed with such a large variety of different Digimon to recruit and digivolve into. It does utilize a turn-based combat style, however, which for an MMO is incredibly unusual. It definitely made it feel more like a JRPG to me, one that you could actually play with plenty of other players. Dungeon Fighter Online is a hub MMO developed by Neepal and published by Nexon, unfortunately. This is the only hub MMO included in this list, but what I mean when referring to it as such is that unlike every other MMO in this list, and in general, Dungeon Fighter is set predominantly within a selection of different town hubs. areas that you can interact with and connect with other players, visit stores, craft, but the bulk of the game takes place within dungeons. Instanced dungeons that you can opt to either tackle solo or with a group of other players. There's no character creation present, although there are outfits that you can purchase or that you can earn in-game. Customization of your character takes the form of class customization, providing players a significant number of classes and subclasses to progress into, adding additional depth to an already very deep system. Combat is complete action. You move horizontally across the screen, and then you mash your letter keys, performing absolutely ridiculous abilities that fill your screen with so many different effects that at times you won't be able to tell where you are or heck where your enemies are. Gran Saga is a stunning new cross-platform anime MMO developed and published by NPixel. This is one of a very small selection of gacha MMOs that allow for players to obtain various different waifus or husbandos in-game. In Gran Saga, those characters take the form of weapons, providing unique appearances and combat styles that you wouldn't have otherwise. This game features a large open world, plenty of areas to explore, plenty of things to see, although like most MMOs built around the mobile platform, and much like Black Desert Mobile, it does feature auto combat, which again, in a mobile game kind of makes sense. Thankfully, you're not forced to use auto combat if you don't want to. I often find it to be more of a hindrance than anything else as you continue to progress further into games. Unfortunately, Gran Saga is, at the time of recording this, only available within Asia. However, they are looking to expand into the global market in the very near future. Guild Wars 2 is arguably the best the free genre has to offer. Developed by ArenaNet and published by NCSoft, this game has retained hundreds of thousands of players year after year, receiving large content updates that continue to expand the game. This is a large open-world MMO that puts a different spin on the traditional formula, disregarding the leveling experience that we're all familiar with, and instead providing players a unique set of leveling options that require you to actually play and explore what the game has to offer. Guild Wars 2 has one of the most extensive class systems present in the MMO scene. Each class has the option of equipping 2 weapons at once, and each weapon offers a separate selection of abilities, meaning a lot more time and effort goes into selecting your gear and to your class. The combat is a unique hybrid blend of action and tab target. Some abilities require a target and others don't. While it definitely looks a little dated by today's standards, this is still easily one of the best titles you'll find yourself playing. Lost Ark is a newer title, releasing globally earlier this year. The game is developed by and published by Smilegate. As a direct result of being so new, the novelty has yet to wear off and many players are still actively playing it. This is a gorgeous game graphically. The environments, the classes, the characters, everything about Lost Ark screams quality. Unfortunately, this is a top-down isometric MMO, with a gameplay style and perspective that Path of Exile and Diablo games utilize, so it definitely isn't for everyone. It does utilize a full-action combat system, however, with your abilities being bound to your letter keys and the movement to your mouse, which honestly, I don't know, maybe I'm the only one that feels this way, but I still find it so unusual to run around with my mouse. I cannot for the life of me get used to it. PSO2 and PSO2 New Genesis are, well, kind of the same game. They're both connected to one another. They utilize the same login info, the same character. You're capable of transferring yourself between both versions of the game. They're both also developed and published by Saga. PSOZ is a hub MMO taking place on a space station and deploying yourself in group onto a variety of different worlds where you engage in missions. PSOZ New Genesis is an open world, albeit segregated MMO, while fully open has highly limited caps on the amount of active players that are capable of coexisting on the same channel, meaning you'll likely never see over 20 or 30 people in any area outside of the towns. Both utilize full action combat, however, New Genesis honestly looks and plays better in my opinion, and as it feels like a genuine MMO, would be the game that I play over the original incarnation of the game 10 out of 10 times. But being able to play through both at any moment and move seamlessly between games is something that no other MMO does. Toram Online is an MMO developed for and published on mobile platforms by Asabimo, but recently received a port over onto PC, and let me tell you, the port was necessary. This game is built for cross-platform functionality in mind. This game honestly doesn't look too great when compared to other games in this list, and that's a reasonable opinion to have, as Asabimo games never really excel graphically. However, Toram excels everywhere else. It offers a decent narrative for players to follow. It has a world that feels like an MMO. Hundreds of players, literally everywhere you look, all participating in and consuming the same content that you are. It has a tab target combat style that almost feels like an amalgamation of both the tab target and turn-based genres right out of a JRPG, and it works. Everything about this game goes a ways to show why Asabimo MMOs are as popular as they are. Honestly, Tower Fantasy is launching in the next couple months, so it seems fitting to list it here, especially given how much fun both Mrs. Stix and I had in it during its April closed beta. Tower Fantasy is developed by Hada Studio and published by Level Infinite. It's a fully functional cross-platform MMO, the first game to be built with both PC and mobile functionality in mind, as opposed to games like Gran Saga or Odin Valhalla Rising, which are both mobile games at their core. Tower Fantasy is a fully open-world MMO, as in no segregated zones, no loading screens whatsoever between any of the regions. 100% full, complete, seamless exploration. And both the world and the graphical style of the game are absolutely overwhelmingly attractive. The game utilizes a full action combat system, allowing for players to freely attack whatever target they want. Although at times you'll find yourself locking onto random targets, and there is the option to toggle and cycle through enemies like you would in a tab target title. It also features a gacha system just like Gran Saga, giving you the option of obtaining additional characters, additional husbandos and waifus that are once again weapons, each offering their own unique aesthetic appearance, their own weapon style and purpose. And the best part is you can actually play the game as any husbando or waifu you want. And that's it. Those are pretty much the best free MMOs that you'll likely want to try if you haven't already. They're some of the best that the genre has to offer, and if you're unable to have fun in at least one of them, well, it's probably best to either stick to gacha games or single player RPGs, which, just a quick FYI, I have a list right here of confirmed gacha games that are coming out this year in 2022. You're welcome.